Do people have a right to arrive at their opinions any way they do, whether it's emotionally honest or dishonest? Yes, they do. Do I accept their right to do it that way? Yes, I do. Can I make people do things the quote-unquote right way? No, I can't. Do I have a right to concern myself with the way other people are doing things? No, not unless it affects me personally or my children personally. Then I have some certain legal options that I can take. I have other decisions that I can make for myself, such as moving somewhere else, not engaging with those sorts of people, choosing different people to spend my time with, and those sorts of things. But in their personal lives, they have a right to those things exclusively. It's not always easy, especially when we perceive something as unjust. One thing that I would consider unjust is people arriving at conclusions based on their emotions. I think we've talked about that a little bit in the past. The majority of the world arrives at a conclusion based on their emotions. So to give you an example of this, they see somebody, they dislike the person. That bad feeling, the person rubs them the wrong way. So it is the feelings that cause them to construct the reasons for why they don't like the person. Some people talk about this as like reverse engineering the argument for why. But you see what's happened. Surely you've met people before where you, I don't know what it is about this person. I just don't like them. Then construct all the reasons why your feelings are not wrong for disliking that person. This is where confirmation bias comes in. You look for all the things that prove that this person is unlikable and why you're right for not liking them. And your attention focuses on and overemphasizes these things that seem to support your dislike for the person, and they minimize the things that would cause any emotionally and intellectually honest person to reevaluate their conclusion. For example, you find out that the person has done a lot of good in the community, is a real nice family man, and all these things. You would discredit that, or you would minimize it, or you would overlook it entirely in favor of all these other things that support your dislike in the person. So that is very unjust. I consider it very unjust, and that's when it's the hardest for me, because when we perceive something as being unjust, we say that that's not right. It shouldn't be that way. It should be this other way. But that's when we have to remind ourselves that we don't live in in real life, in the real world, we don't live in a world that is determined by shoulds and should nots. And no matter what should be or shouldn't be, is completely irrelevant to what is. That goes into a conversation about acceptance and denial, doesn't it? Acceptance in these cases goes a long way. Accepting that the true nature of the world and life is what it really is, whether we like it or not. It's not subject to our concepts of should and should not. Should and should not has no bearing on what is or is not, you see? So we look at a person who is completely unwilling to have an emotionally and intellectually honest conversation on a particular subject. Should they be doing that? No, they shouldn't be doing that. But are they doing that? Yes. Do they have a right to do things that way? Yes, they do. The same as you do. Whether you identify that as something that's unhealthy and that you don't want to do is up to you. But it's also up to them. They can choose to not care at all, whether the way that they arrive at opinions or the way that they approach conversations.